In the vastness beyond stars, beyond galaxies, and beyond the fragile veil of time itself, two presences loomed in silence. One was a man who had long shed the constraints of humanity. Dr. Jonathan Osterman, the figure the world came to know as Dr. Manhattan. Born in the fires of a nuclear accident, Manhattan transcended mortality, becoming a being who existed simultaneously across past, present, and future. He was no longer bound by linearity. To him, events were not happening, but had always already happened. He was destiny in blue skin, his glowing form both a reminder and a threat of what humanity might one day become. Yet even for one who existed outside time, the loneliness of eternity lingered. Manhattan had wandered countless planes of existence, crafting life in distant corners of the multiverse, dissecting the very structure of reality with an indifference only he could afford. He had encountered gods, mortals, and entities of staggering power, but none had truly matched his perspective. He was a god of atoms and inevitability, but he remained uncertain of his place in the endless hierarchy of existence. It was during one such moment of reflection, standing on the event horizon of a collapsing star, that he felt it, a presence. Not an intrusion, not an attack, but an overwhelming stillness that rippled through the cosmic lattice like a voice that didn't need to speak. For the first time in what could be called eons, Dr. Manhattan felt something alien to his being. He felt observed. The source was the Fulcrum. The Fulcrum was not merely a cosmic overseer or celestial abstraction. To the Eternals, the Celestials, and even the most ancient deities of Marvel's pantheon, the Fulcrum was the one who stood above. He was the silent innkeeper who tended the way station between existence and non-existence, the final authority before judgment. Some whispered he was a face of the one above all. Others feared he was something even beyond that, a neutral arbiter of balance that neither created nor destroyed, but maintained. The Fulcrum rarely stirred. His essence was not tied to intervention, but to equilibrium. Yet, the sudden appearance of Dr. Manhattan, this anomaly who could perceive all time, rewrite reality, and casually mold worlds, was like a new equation disrupting the cosmic ledger. Manhattan's interference in timelines, his reshaping of worlds across multiverses, did not go unnoticed. He had changed what should not be changed, plucked strings in a symphony that the Fulcrum had orchestrated to maintain eternal balance. Their convergence was inevitable. Dr. Manhattan did not see this as fate, for to him, fate was meaningless. Every outcome already existed. But as he beheld the quiet vastness of the Fulcrum's presence, he knew this was no ordinary meeting. For once, he could not see beyond it. His omniscience, his calm certainty that all was already written, faltered. The Fulcrum was not part of the script. He was the one who held the script itself. The encounter began as silence, a silence that stretched across star systems, folding reality in a hush that even black holes seemed to honor. "You are not of this order," came the voice. Not heard, but felt, resonating within the marrow of existence. The Fulcrum's tone was neither anger nor judgment, merely recognition. Dr. Manhattan responded without words, for his very being radiated thought and inevitability. "I exist where I must. I shape what I see. It has always been so." The Fulcrum's stillness deepened, his essence taking the form of a man bathed in cosmic twilight, eyes that reflected both creation and its inevitable undoing. You see all time, yet you do not see purpose. You meddle with what is, but you do not understand why it is. That imbalance cannot remain. For the first time in an eternity of self-certainty, Manhattan felt questioned. Not challenged by strength, but by something far greater, authority over meaning itself. Galaxies trembled as the weight of their presences drew nearer. Stars flared into novas and collapsed into singularities, reacting to the gathering of entities whose very existence redefined physics. Across countless dimensions, gods, celestials, demons, and mortals felt ripples of unease, like the whisper of an approaching storm that none could name. Dr. Manhattan tilted his glowing head, his voice as calm as always. "If you believe I must stop, then you must stop me, but you cannot alter inevitability. The moment of our clash has already happened." The Fulcrum stepped forward, or perhaps the universe itself shifted closer to him, for movement was meaningless to such a being. Then let it happen. The cosmos quaked as the two stood across the void. Dr. Manhattan's glowing form radiated calm inevitability, while the Fulcrum's presence was an ocean of authority, vast and still. There was no starting point, because to Manhattan it had already begun. With a thought, Manhattan unraveled a galaxy behind him, scattering its stars like sand, then reassembled it in a single gesture. Space-time bent, fractals of probability spreading like mirrored shards. To him, this was no attack. It was demonstration. But the Fulcrum did not flinch. His eyes, twin horizons of creation and dissolution, regarded the display with indifference. He raised a hand, and in that moment, the galaxy Manhattan had formed dissolved into a singularity, compressed not by force, but by judgment. Reality itself obeyed the Fulcrum's will, not Manhattan's. Manhattan's voice, calm as ever, echoed across dimensions. "I am inevitable." The Fulcrum's reply was simple, resolute. "You are temporary." The word struck harder than any blow. Manhattan multiplied himself into infinite versions, each standing in different timelines, millions of blue figures converging upon the Fulcrum from past, present, and future. They bent reality, disassembled atoms, and rewrote causality to trap him in paradoxes. Yet, the Fulcrum remained unchanged, as though standing outside the frame of existence itself. Every paradox collapsed into silence when it touched him. Then the Fulcrum moved. A single step. The void bent inward like a collapsing dome, timelines burning away. The Manhattan duplicates flickered out like candles until only one remained. The original, his luminous form trembling with an emotion he had not felt in ages. Doubt. He struck again, his hand reaching out, dismantling the subatomic fabric of the Fulcrum's manifestation. But when he looked, the pieces had already reformed. His power irrelevant, like trying to erase words from a book that the author had never written. The Fulcrum raised his hand, palm glowing not with power, but with inevitability. "Your time is not yours to command." In an instant, Manhattan saw it, his existence across all timelines, past and future, shrinking. The glowing threads of his omnipresence, once infinite, began to converge to a single point. For the first time, he was bound by time again, pulled back into linearity. Manhattan looked at his hand, once glowing with infinite possibility, now trembling with limitation. His voice was soft, almost human. "So this is what it means to end." The Fulcrum's gaze did not waver. "Everything has its place, even gods." With a motion as gentle as the closing of a book, the Fulcrum erased the glow from Manhattan's form. The blue figure dissolved, not into nothingness, but into balance, returned to the lattice of the universe as a whisper, a memory, a lesson. The void was still. Stars returned to their rhythm. Time resumed its flow. Across dimensions, the silence lifted, though none but the highest beings knew what had occurred. The Fulcrum turned, his presence fading like twilight. The multiverse continued, balanced once more. The clash had not been one of rage or destruction. It had been inevitability confronting equilibrium. And in the end, Dr. Manhattan, the god of atoms and time, learned that even inevitability bowed to purpose.